Remember, prospecting is a proactive process. You want to initiate those calls. And a lot of times, I think agents are hesitant to make those calls because they're wondering, well, what am I going to say? What am I going to talk about? I just talked to these people and did the Ford script last week. Now, why am I calling them again this week? Well, maybe you did a Ford script for someone who's in a 3-bedroom house and they're having a baby, and now you have a new listing coming on the market that's a 4-bedroom house. Call them again. Hey, John, I know we talked last week. I just want to let you know, in my office, we just listed a home that I think could be a good match for you if you guys wanted to accelerate the process. I know the market right now is very competitive, and this could be an opportunity for you to sneak in and win before it gets anywhere. I'd love to help you do that if you're interested. Right? So basically, you can use the week to lead up, and when open houses come back around, and we're able to go door to door, some of the most effective open house hosts, the Friday before the open house or Saturday or Sunday morning before the open house, you go knock on the doors, 20 doors to the left, 20 doors to the right, and 40 doors across the street, and invite people to the open house. It's a great excuse to be on their doorstep. You're not selling them anything. You're not asking for donations. I know people don't like to come to the door and then pull out their wallet. We're not doing that, right? We're inviting them to an opportunity. If you really want to meet the neighbors, you could have a special 1-hour session or 30-minute session prior to the public open house opening. Cater it, maybe have some sandwiches or some donuts, and invite people over for coffee and donuts. It's like, hey, we're having an open house, but I just want to let you know that 45 minutes before 1 o'clock, I'll be holding it open. We'll have some donuts and some coffee if you guys want to come in and get ahead of the rush to see what your neighbors are up to. Guys, the most important thing that we're doing here is generating leads and adding people to our database. So when you have that open house opportunity, you have that opportunity to reach out to all the neighbors and see if we can't get them to be our clients down the road. We just did a quick little door knocking role play as it was. But again, just come to the door and say, hey, this is Mark from Keller Williams. I'm calling because the homeowners have asked me to invite you to the open house at their home at 123 Main Street, Saturday from 1 to 4. Feel free to bring someone with you from work or a friend or relative that might be interested in buying in your neighborhood. When I do find a buyer, I'd like to be able to share with them what people like about the neighborhood. May I ask you what it is that you like about this neighborhood? See if we can engage in 30 or 45 seconds of small talk. The number one thing is building rapport. If you can build rapport, maybe they don't want to come to your open house, but they like you and they want to know about market activity. Offer them another option. Oh, by the way, Mr. Homeowner, as a service to homeowners, I have a bi-weekly newsletter that'll go out and notify you of all real estate activity in this neighborhood. Get it in your email, and that way you can feel secure about the value of your home. How does that sound? Try to get their email address.
How do we create those newsletters?
Well, you can create newsletters. You can buy the newsletters. There's no shortage of marketing companies that have newsletters for real estate. Some are good, some are not. If you leverage a technology like Property Minder, that's what I use. And I just set people up on property searches. So once a month, my property system will send them a neighborhood snapshot with some stats. And then every other week, it'll send them an update of real estate activity. New listings that came on and listings that have sold and what they sold for. That way they don't have to worry or even go to Zillow. Just check your email. Sold price will be there for you. Does everyone understand how that works? Anna said Minder, not Miner. Property Minder.
Mark, I believe CAR also offers a free newsletter to their members. See, people should check into that.
There you go. CAR has one.
And then
AccuList stats from the MLS. They're not very expensive. You can get newsletters from them.
Yeah, there's Altos Research for the stats. They're pretty good. I also wanted to mention that I know when, and back in the day when we did open houses, you would prepare the entire week, to get ready for the weekend. Day one, you'd go out and on Monday, you'd identify the properties that you want to show, that you want to hold open. If they're not yours, you contact the listing agent. And then the following day, you talk to a lender and you have a lender help create a flyer for you on the property with some sample scenarios. If you put, 30% down on this house, this is what your payment would look like. If you put 40% down, this is what your payment will look like. This is what your payment would look like if it's a 30-day or 30-year arm, or 30-year fix versus an arm. But I don't even see anybody sharing that type of knowledge online, which is a shame, because sometimes those conversations on lending can really spark conversations like, what do I really qualify for? How do I get pre-qualified? And that's the first step of engagement in terms of working with the buyer and trying to make them qualified.
Actually, that's a very, very good point, Hilda. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I know sometimes buyers for specifically, they have these mental blocks over large numbers. It's like, oh, I only want to spend $1 million. I don't want to spend more than $1 million. But what is $1 million? I mean, $1 million sounds like a big number, right? But really, what is $1 million borrowed at 2.5%? How come to find out? It may only be a few, $2,000 or $3,000 a month. That's what they're paying for in rent. $1 million today at 2.5% to 3%. It's really not that much money. It doesn't cost that much to borrow. I have first-time buyers that bought at 1.7, 1.8 that borrowed $1.5 million for a nice big house. Yeah, their payment with taxes and everything's less than $7,000 a month. That's actually pretty affordable for people working in high tech.
Yeah, but I just don't see it happening anymore. I don't see one single post of any agent, including the top producers, talking about payments.
I actually did a post, rent versus buy. And then I also did one post that compares price, like if you buy a house today for this price with this interest rate versus if you wait, and presumably like people waiting to see that prices will drop. Let's say the price will drop 10%, but your interest rate will increase. And I did those comparisons that the payment will actually be higher even if the price is a little bit lower, but the interest rate is higher. So I did those a couple times. Maybe I need to do it again. And the rent versus buy is pretty powerful. But honestly, now in our market, a lot of times rents are a little cheaper than mortgages. So not very appealing.
They are, but you have to remember that there's no tax deductibility. There's no write-off. So if you take the write-off, then it's certainly better to own, and the equity and appreciation over time. But those are great posts, and I keep doing them. Other people are not doing them. So just keep doing them. Remember that not everybody in your algorithm, if you're using Facebook, is going to see the same, post. So that's why you have to pay for sponsored posts and sponsored ads so that you have a better opportunity to target, leads. But those are really great posts to do, because I just don't see them being done with any degree of frequency.
You're right.
Very good point. Thank you, Hilda.
Thanks for reminding me.
Alice mentioned that in the chat that the real estate agents shouldn't talk about rates like lenders shouldn't talk about market updates. And that's true to a degree. I mean, I don't think we need to counsel people on what they need to do to prepare to get the lowest rate, but we do need to understand the costs associated with owning a home. And we should know what the prevailing interest rates are. So you just share with people that, hey, $1 million at 3% interest, it's only $30,000 a year in interest payments. Add a little bit for the principal. I mean, you may come to realize that $1 million home is much more affordable than one thought. So although we're not really promoting interest rates, we need to share with people, right, what the costs are with their homes.
Well, and just so that I'm clear, I didn't say that you should quote, or the agent should quote the rates. I said you should contact and partner with the lender and have the lender create the flyer for you on a particular listing that you're then sharing out. So you would be co-branded with the lender. And they're used to
There you
doing
go.
them. Believe me, they used to do them all the time. And because we went to a virtual situation, people dropped one of the important steps that I feel is probably impacting their lead generation.
Very good. Very good. All right. Let's talk about engaging with people a little bit. Right. Now, we're not going to be, I mean, obviously, when we're hosting the open houses and people are coming to us and we can greet them, you know, and start building rapport. That's the first step. Obviously, you know, if people don't like you, they're not going to do business with you. So it's important to have an upbeat, positive attitude. You know, greet people with good energy. I don't know how many times I've walked into an open house and the agent's just sitting on the couch or sitting at the desk in their phones, not paying attention. You know, is that agent going to win anybody that comes through the door? Chances are no, they're already defeated before they started. But you know, if you are there, you make the most of it. You know, do your affirmations prior to the open house so you build up your personal energy, if you will, and have good energy when people come through the door. Make sure you greet everyone. Sometimes if it's too busy, a lot of things could slip through the cracks, and that's okay too, because understand that you're not going to be everybody's agent that walks through the door. But my goal when I host an open house is to try to get at least a good 3, 4, maybe 5 potential clients by building that rapport and paying attention to those people once you start having a good conversation, right? If you have a good conversation with someone, I wouldn't break that conversation to go greet the next person that came through the door, especially if I've already identified the one that I'm talking to as a real potential client. I want to make sure that I give them all their attention and capture their information so I have a good chance at following up. And then catch up to those that may have come through while I was busy. And if I can't, you can't. That's okay. You can't win everybody, and understand that. And that's okay. I remember taking a class that was hosted by one of the most famous agents in the area, Mr. Ken DeLeon. And he was a KW agent at one point. And he was doing an open house class. And one big aha I got from his class was that he would prepare, obviously you have flyers for the property, but he would prepare 4 or 5 binders. And those binders were of a pretty high quality, and they had color pictures of the market, other opportunities in the area, as well as some breakdown statistics and some flyers regarding the home buying process. Now, this isn't something you just give to everybody, but this is something that you give to the people that you build strong rapport with, right? Some people, when they walk in, they're just going to brush you off. They really don't want to be bothered. And that's okay. You don't give those guys a binder. You just give those guys a flyer. But there will be people that walk through the door that will be receptive to your energy. You will start having a great conversation. Your chances of converting them are going to be there. And those are the people that you may want to share one of those binders with. Number one, nobody does this. Of the 5 or 6 open houses that they're going to go to, the chances of them getting something wow to take home or take away with them are slim to none. And remember that people that are going through open houses are likely going to go through several. So they're going to engage several agents that day. And you need to differentiate yourself and set yourself apart from all those other agents that are also vying for their business. And having some materials that are of a little higher quality is a great way to differentiate yourself and do that. Okay. Qualify leads. Ask probing questions. And I asked what I can repeat what's in the binder. In the binder, he had market statistics, the breakdowns, other opportunities in the area, other listings, maybe listings that aren't open that he can show later, and the home buying kind of booklet. There are plenty of home buying booklets out there. You can find one online. You can find one from the board.
Mark, I wanted
to your Ignite toolkit.
I was going to say, I wanted to mention that because Alicia reminded me the other day, we have buyers and sellers guides in the Kelly app. And one good thing would, be to do if the home that you're hosting, isn't appealing to the prospect, ask them if they're not working with an agent, if there's another home that you might be able to pull up in the neighborhood and send them to. Just going that little extra mile makes a huge difference. And if you can get them to give you their email, you can turn around and you can actually send them the buyer or seller's guide, whichever is applicable, to them on the spot. And that would make a nice impression.
There you go. Very good. Very good. All right. Qualifying leads, guys. You want to ask probing questions. One of my aggressive agent cohorts, he would always ask people if they want to write an offer on the house. After they've kind of walked around, they've seen the house, he goes, so you guys ready to write an offer? And more than likely, the answer to that question is going to be no. But what that does is it gives you an opening so that you can probe further. What's this home missing? Right? What does this home not have that's preventing you from writing an offer? Oh, the price is too high. Or maybe not enough bedrooms. Oh, okay. You guys need 4 more bedrooms. Why is that important? Why is that important is a very strong question, because it'll allow people to think about and then share with you their more defined reasons as to what they're looking for. It's called probing, right? We're looking for a 3-bedroom house. You're looking for 3 bedrooms. Why is that important? Why is it important to have 3 bedrooms versus 2? Oh, because we have 2 kids. They all need a bedroom. Okay, cool. How old are your kids? Our school's important. Then you start going through and asking questions. People love talking about themselves. And if people are opening up to you and they start digging a little deeper, you can offer other alternatives. Right? Why is this house not the right house for you? Oh, we were hoping for a home in a little better condition. Okay. By the way, actually, I know of a great house in perfect condition that could fit your price range. Would you like to get together and look at it later on this afternoon? It's not open today. Right? And offer to get together with them later on. So you can't offer solutions to problems you don't know exist. And the only way you're going to identify those problems is ask questions. And you're going to identify their willingness. If people are shortcut with their answers and are brushing you off, it might be a good indicator that they're not going to be the right clients for you. And that's okay. Wish them well on their way out. But not everyone's going to be short with you. There's going to be people that you're going to connect with, and they'll start opening up. And that's your cue to perhaps maybe offer them a binder or set that follow-up appointment right there on the spot. Don't put off today, or don't put off for tomorrow what you could do today, right? And a lot of agents make that mistake. Well, I'm getting everyone to sign in, and then tomorrow I'm going to follow up with everyone and hopefully book an appointment with them throughout the week. The problem with that is they're going to see 5 or 6 other open houses, and they're going to forget about you by the end of the day, guaranteed, more than likely. So that when you're following up with them Monday or Tuesday, you're one of the 10 calls they're going to get. That's a different process. If you're in a situation and you're talking to someone, even if you're prospecting, you start having a good conversation. Don't put off for tomorrow what you can do right now. And what you can do right now is book an appointment. Always book an appointment to get together down the road. Hey, it looks like we're having a pretty good conversation. Would love to talk to you further about the home buying process. Would you like to meet for coffee on Monday or Tuesday? I'm available at 4 and 7. I'm available at lunch. We can have lunch on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. Whatever times you guys set aside for yourself for buyer presentations or listing appointments. And if you have good success in building rapport, close for that appointment right away. Don't put that off for a follow-up. Okay. Follow up with the people on Monday or Tuesday that you didn't build rapport with, that you just got them to sign in. Right? Those are people you're going to call Monday or Tuesday, hopefully get an appointment down the road. But understand that's prospecting business. What's prospecting business? It means it's a lot of rejection and a lot of no's. Understand that, be okay with it. Don't let it get you down. That way you can keep pushing forward. And then provide value. Right, you could use the neighborhood snapshots from Kelly as a great way to do that as they get better. Or whatever system you have to follow up and send them listings that could be of value to them. Now, a few ways to capture leads at open homes. You could do a sign-in sheet. Sign-in sheets are somewhat effective to get people to sign in. The seller has requested a record of everyone that's come through their home. Please sign the sign-in sheet. You make them do it. You can't be passive with that. If that's something you want to be in control of. Will people give fake names and information? Absolutely. Is there an app you can use? I'm sure there is. There's a myriad of them, actually. There's open house apps that they kind of work as quasi CRMs. People put their information in, and then not only will it save it for you, it'll email them a few times on your behalf as follow-up. So look in the app stores, they have them. Open house tools, absolutely. Get people to sign in on an iPad or on the phone.
Hey, Mark?
Yes.
For those sign-in sheets, what's the main purpose? Is it just for CRM and getting information for potential prospects?
That's it. That's it.
It has nothing to do with it. Sorry?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to ask, it has nothing to do with any kind of a legal issue, right?
Oh, no, there's no legal basis. Now, if something ends up missing from the house, it's good to have everyone who came through a record of them. So that, but half of that is just being diligent and not having valuables left out that can go missing. Because although we do our best to keep an eye on everyone in the open house, right now, if open houses were open in the market that we're in, you're going to get 30, 40 visitors. You can't track everybody that's going through that house. It's impossible. In fact, I would say that you shouldn't be holding an open house by yourself. There should be at least 2 or 3 agents there at every open house if we were having one in today's market. That way you can engage everyone that walks through the door, because you will have 3 or 4 people in the house at any given time, 3 or 4 parties at any given time. 2017, 2018, when we had this type of market last, that was the situation. You have a well-priced listing, you're going to have constantly 4 or 5 people from the moment you open to the moment you close, 4 or 5 parties in the house at all times. So just having one agent house is underservicing, if you will.
And Mark, what's the general etiquette? What's the general etiquette for asking maybe a peer to come help out at an open house? Say if you needed an extra pair of hands.
Well, what's the general etiquette? You could share the leads. You can take turns with the prospects that are coming through the door, or you can share them all. It's up to you.
Got it.
Just make sure you define those objectives prior to the showtime, and make sure everyone is clear about what their opportunities are, right? I have a great listing. It's going to be a crazy open house. I know there's going to be a ton of people coming through. Would you like some leads? Well, the answer to most agents that don't have leads is yes. We'd love to have some leads. I think great, come work the open house together. If I was a listing agent, I'd give the buyer's agents most of the leads that came through. If I'm helping build the rapport and create that relationship, I'll take a referral fee, but still give all the leads to the buyer's agent. No problem with that. So there's 100 ways to break down the commission. Be creative. Make sure it's a win-win for all parties involved. It's the Keller Williams way. How do you avoid getting fake information? Well, offer a raffle. A $100 Nordstrom gift card. Raffling off a Nordstrom's gift card. Raffling off a couple bottles of wine. I had great success with cruise. I hooked up with a company that was actually my lender did. He was the one ponying up the free cruise. His cost was less than $100 for a 3-day cruise to Ensenada. But I guarantee everyone that registered at that open house, they all gave me real information, their real email address and their real phone numbers, because you can't win the cruise otherwise. Right. So some things to consider, right? You always want to stay safe when showing homes to people. You never know who's going to walk through the door of that open house. And this is true with anyone if you're prospecting. That's why I'm a very big advocate of if you're out showing new buyers homes, that you meet with them somehow prior to a property tour. Right? You want to have your buyer consultation before you show anyone any houses. That way you know who they are, what they're about. Hopefully they're pre-approved before you take any risks of meeting people strange places. Like I showed a house yesterday up in Santa Cruz Mountains. There wasn't anyone around within earshot. People had nefarious motives. I could be in real trouble, even me, all 6'4", 260 pounds. Like 4 people show up and I'm in trouble. But I knew my clients. I had my pre-listing or pre-buyer consultation with them. We had rapport, they were referred. I felt safe. Well, hosting an open house, you want to park on the street, don't park in the driveway. And I'd say park away, especially if it's going to be a very busy open house. You want to give the visitors a place to park. That's the most important thing. The other thing, meet the neighbors. They'll have your back too. Never turn your back on a prospect. That's a tough one, especially if you have a bunch of people in the house. But you want to always position yourself where you have an eye on people that are coming through. So you want to stand maybe towards the corner of a room where chances are people aren't going to get behind you, or there's no need for people to be behind you. That way everything's in front. Establish an escape route. Understand where you're going to run to in the event something does happen. I've had listings in some questionable neighborhoods. And, you want to make sure you know how to get out the back door and out of the house in case something does happen. We had one case where you didn't want to even be inside the house. The escape route was on the porch. If they come up the driveway, I can run down the side. So know your neighborhoods, know what to expect in a way. And always understand have an understanding of your surroundings and how you can get away. Like whenever you're showing a house, even if you're showing property to clients, I always open the door, swing it open, and then let them walk in first. That way your back's not to them. And especially if you're going around doing a guided tour room to room, and never enter a room first, right? Because what could happen, right? If you enter a room first, they can enter right behind you and close the door. Now you have no escape. What are you going to do? Better have your black belt. Better have your pepper spray or whatever it is you use to protect yourself. But the best way to do it is not to get put in that situation to begin with, and understand that. Now, if you're meeting somebody at a property and you're showing them a property, it's a good idea to be there ahead of time. That way you can open everything up, open all the doors. That way you don't have to lead them through anything. Say, oh, the bedrooms are down this hallway, please have a look. And then you follow them. All right. And then always let someone know where you are and when you'll be done. It's to be safe. Have a partner in the office, check in with them. Hey, open house is over. I'm safe. Place is locked up. Usually the listing agents are a good person to let know, because we're going to want to know how the open house went. So it's a kill two birds with one stone situation, right? want to let someone know that you're safe, and then you also want to let them know what happened at the open house. Because I have my clients, the list or whoever the homeowners are going to want to know. And you don't want to call. You don't want them calling you. You want to call them. Say, hey, this is the breakdown. Who came through the open house and what we expect. Last but not least, charge your cell phone. Make sure that you have power. You don't want to be in a situation where you're out of phone and out of coverage. That was a situation I was in yesterday in the Santa Cruz Mountains. There was no cell service where I was. So understand that. It was very nice of the listing agents to let me know. They gave me the Wi-Fi password for the house. Didn't do much good though, unfortunately. But again, everything was fine. Any questions, concerns on this prospect safety? You guys good? All right.
Mark, I think the pepper spray is a really good idea. They have them for sale at the Association of Realtors. At least I know SCORE does. My family members who are in law enforcement tell me that you should always buy two and use one and learn how to use it so that you know how to react in an emergency, because they see more people harm themselves with pepper spray because they don't know how to use them. And the first time they use them is when they are in a fearful situation and they just panic and really don't know how to operate or use the product. So buy two, learn how to use it. And then if you're a female or a male, if your hair's long enough, I suppose, there's COVID issues now, avoid wearing your hair in a ponytail because assailants always grab the ponytail. That's like one of the easiest things that they go for if they're looking for a female subject.
Very good point, Hilda. Very good point.
So little helpful tips there. And I did also want to say one thing in terms of the collateral. I love the Ken DeLeon model where he puts together a very nice binder, something that's coffee table material and probably not going to end up in the round file for at least a while. Is if I make the comparison when I'm going to buy an automobile and when I'm going to purchase a home, and the home is typically, 20 times more than the cost of the automobile. I get a brochure from the auto dealer that probably cost anywhere between 10 to 15 and maybe upwards of $20 or $25 when I go and look at a car. And yet we're not accustomed to creating the same consumer experience when it comes to real estate. And I think that that's one way that we can differentiate ourselves in the marketplace, is that we really pay close attention to the finer details. I really want the hashtag to be for our market center, expect the unexpected. If we go that, extra inch, it's going to prove or provide results that are going to go the extra mile. So think about that. Just if you need an analogy when you're producing collateral, think of the investment that's being made by the client, and are you really putting yourself out there in the best way possible to be selected for that business.
Very good point. Very good point. And again, if you put together something really, really nice, like a really nice binder, you don't have to give it to them. You can let them borrow it. Hey, Mr. Buyer, I have some great information in this binder I think you'd find really beneficial. I could let you borrow it. If you don't mind, I'll follow up with you Monday or Tuesday. Maybe we can meet for coffee and I can get it back. It's another great excuse to meet them and talk to them some more.
You're absolutely right. And that's a strategy that even listing agents use. Listing agents will put together a very, very nice listing presentation. And even if they don't get the deal, they'll ask to come back and to retrieve their proposal. So I think that's a good way to show what you're offering does provide value.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, the rubber meets the road in this case, in most cases, guys, is in the pursuit section, following up, right? Chances of selling somebody a house when you first meet them on the spot is like none, pretty slim. We're not selling cars, right? Someone comes onto your car lot, the goal is to not let them leave without buying your car. Well, this doesn't work that way, right? We're in the follow-up business. So really, we want to make sure that we have our processes down. to be able to do that. One way, again, give something of value that you can have an excuse to get back. But ultimately, right, we want to take the prospects, we want to add them to our database. If you've made any appointments with those people, obviously put them in your calendar and conduct those. And then tag your prospects appropriately in command. If they're an immediate buyer or seller, someone that's going to likely make a move in the next 30 to 60 days. Or if they're a future buyer or seller, someone that's going to make a move maybe 60 to 90 days, maybe 6 months down the road. I converted the very, very, very first person that walked into my very, very first open house. I converted them into 3 transactions, but I didn't start the transactions until 3 years after that open house visit. What ended up happening was I put them in my database and I set them up on a property search, and my system was emailing them every week. The client ended up having some family issues, had to go back to Japan for 2 years. And then when she came back, she was like, Mark, you sent me an email every week, and now I have a need for your real estate services. And she called me up. So never underestimate when those buyers will pop or those transactions will pop. Could happen right away. It could happen a couple of years down the road. The most important thing is to leverage the technology and the systems you have. Like, did I spend time actually sending this person an email every week? No. I set it up once and I kind of forgot about it. She called me up out of the blue, praised me for my diligence in sending emails. And I was like, the system paid for itself for my entire career, just for that one prospect. So leverage the smart plans in command, guys. There's thousands of smart plans out there. You don't have to recreate the wheel. Go see what's effective for other agents. We're a collaborating company. There's really no secrets in real estate. The secret is work hard, and your diligence will be rewarded. So put the contacts on a smart plan. Leverage the already established systems. 8x8, 33 touch. 8x8 saturates the relationship, and then scale back to 33 touch to maintain that relationship over time. And call them until they tell you to stop calling. That's it. You never know. You never know. All right. Let's talk about the best practices for hosting an open house. Host a speaker. Could be a possibility. Home buying seminar. Actually, having a home buying seminar on a Wednesday after the open house is a great excuse to reconnect with the people that come to the open house, especially if you're going to have a whole bunch of people coming through and you're not going to be able to necessarily build that strong rapport and demonstrate your expertise. Invite them to an event that's happening on Tuesday or Wednesday during the week. Mr. Prospective Buyer, I host every Tuesday a seminar on Zoom where we discuss the strategies of how to get a house in today's market without overpaying. Would you like to learn how to do that? Come join me on Tuesday. You can offer a gift. Cruise worked out really well for me. Nordstrom's gift cards, bottles of wine, a raffle of some kind. Some way to guarantee that the contact information that they give you is going to be real. Number 3, get the house in showing shape. Every time I see this, it reminds me of American Beauty. You guys seen that movie, American Beauty? It's a little older now. But the main guy's wife was a real estate agent. She'd get in there, I'm going to sell this house today. And sure enough, she was mopping the floors and wiping the windows down. You don't have to go to that level, if you will. Hopefully the listing agent and the seller who has the greatest interest in getting this house sold will present you with a fairly clean property. But, sometimes things happen, weather's bad. You have situations where leaves fall on the walkway. You may want to have a broom in your car just to lightly sweep, give people a nice path to the door. You want to make sure all the lights are on. Doesn't matter if it's day or night. Dark and dreary houses never sell for good money. They don't attract people either. So always a good idea to turn on all the lights and go live. Why not? You're there. Facebook Live it. Facebook Live through the house before the open house starts. Get people through. Anna asks if I ask for feedback from people about price. Absolutely, you can ask for feedback from people about price. Ask for feedback for people about anything. Ask them to make an offer. That's the great icebreaker. Everyone chuckles after that. Hey, you guys ready to buy this house? You guys ready to make an offer? And then you can, after you have your little chuckle, you can then start asking those. You've broken the ice, right? Now you can start asking those probing questions. Right, well, what about this house isn't perfect? What do you guys think about the price? I can't wait to host an open house either, Anna. I appreciate that very much. I enjoy open houses. Always had a good time. It's a great way to spend a couple hours. You can meet a lot of people, build rapport. All right. So some quick do's and don'ts. Do welcome visitors at the door. Greet everyone that comes through. Hey, how are you? Welcome to the open house. Present them with the marketing materials if you have them, the flyer. I don't like to chase people around the house necessarily, and I don't believe they'd like to be chased around the house. So I kind of let them wander, especially if there's a bunch of people in the house. Then I follow up with them after they've viewed. I like to stay in the main living areas. Again, it prevents nefarious items, if you will, or nefarious people from doing nefarious things. When I get the house in showing shape, turn on all the lights. I have rearranged furniture in the past sometimes the living room is set up in such a way that it's really closed off, and I can easily, shift a couch around and open it up. I've done that before too. Right, the big don'ts. Don't leave valuables exposed. That's something a listing agent should be covering with their sellers. Right, people are gonna, obviously, if we're back to open houses, that means people are gonna be back to opening and touching things. Right, so you want to take your prescription medications, any expensive jewelry. Don't leave cash on the counter, right? Don't give people an opportunity. Best thing to do is put that stuff in a box, put that box underneath your bed. People are going to open the medicine cabinets, they're going to open the drawers, they're going to see what's there, they're going to see, as they should. Before spending $2 million on a house, you want to make sure the hinges aren't broken and things aren't dilapidated inside. So yeah, they're going to open the closets and see what kind of closet space. There's closet organizers or whatnot. So you don't want to leave your valuables exposed, but there's no way that anyone should be crawling underneath a bed and opening a box. Right, that'll be your first sign that someone's there up to no good if someone starts doing that. Don't have any messy meals or snacks. Nothing that smells bad. You may want to do some things that do smell good though. I have been known to bake cookies. Actually, not me, my wife helps. She comes and bakes cookies. Get a nice, who doesn't like the smell of chocolate chip cookies? Some people don't, but most people like it. Right? And don't make assumptions. What does that mean? Don't make assumptions about people that come through the door. You never know. Some of the richest people I know walk around on a Saturday in flip-flops and shorts with their hair ragged, because that's their off day. So treat everyone respectfully. Right, the word assume. What happens when you assume? Break the word down. Makes an ass out of you and me. Don't assume. You never know. You never know. All right, some good things to have in your toolkit, if you will. Disinfecting wipes and toilet paper. Toilet paper especially, there's a lot of times, especially with vacant homes, there may not be toilet paper. And who comes through the door? A family with 2 small kids and they all got to pee. Right, you want to make sure that they have toilet paper or something that they can wash their hands or whatnot and do what they have to do. So yeah, toilet paper, paper towels are a good idea. Always have pens. Never be without a pen. if you're a real estate professional, or at least access to a pen. You never know when you're going to need to take a note, take someone's information. Maybe your phone battery's dead. You need to take their information. Always have a pen. Extra business cards, backup batteries for your phone, measuring tape, trash bags, anything else that's not on the list you guys can think of. That'd be good to have.
Sanitizing wipes.
Sanitizing wipes, yeah. Some pepper spray, maybe just in case.
You really make me really nervous about the pepper spray that I need to carry around.
You know, it doesn't happen very often, but when it happens, it's devastating.
Did it happen to you that you felt like you need one?
Who, me? No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But again, I'm 6'4", damn near 300 pounds. Usually I walk down the street, people don't look at me as a target or want to have anything to do with me. But if you're, 5'4" and attractive, and yeah, I would be careful and worry. Make sure you have what you need to keep yourself safe. And the other thing is, again, don't assume. I've had some listings downtown, have some curious characters come through, but I'm always an upbeat and friendly person. So I'm upbeat and friendly with them. We crack jokes, tour them the property like they were anyone else. Maybe they had nefarious ideas, but once after talking to me for a few minutes, they realized I wasn't the one. Right? So always be happy and treat everyone respectfully. All right. And then follow up, guys. Follow up is the most important part of this. That's what's going to differentiate, one or two deals from open houses in a year and 20 deals from open houses in a year. And get the people into your database 8x8 33 touch. All right. We've been at this a little over about an hour now. You guys have any ahas or ideas you'd like to share? Anybody's thinking changed around open houses? Are we awake? Obviously, we want to stay safe. Anyone else have comments or suggestions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So my fear that after Corona, sellers will be resistant to having an open house, that they will not see a value in having an open house. Because obviously there is more value to the agent than to the seller per se, because at least in the current market as we are right now, when the inventory is so low. And how do you convey that message that open house is good for your property and good for marketing? Because obviously you can see we can sell houses without open homes now.
Absolutely. No, we can't sell. The open houses don't necessarily sell homes. Homes sell without them for sure. But are they an effective tool to help? They absolutely are. Absolutely are. Because if you host an effective open house, you have an attractively priced property, the public sees the activity and it'll motivate them to act sooner and better, right? If they walk into an open house and they see that there's a line of people, it's a hot listing, people are going to want this house, the energy from everyone being in the house kind of builds upon itself. People overhear each other talking and it motivates them to take action sooner than later. So I would say that open houses are a very effective tool, even in today's hot market where you don't necessarily need them. But by having them and having people see that action, it can motivate them to offer more money. And at the end of the day, what the sellers want, more money. More money is better than less money when it comes to selling, right? So how do we get the most money? By creating momentum and competition. We do that by offering an attractive price to bring people to the door, and then momentum and competition will drive that price up. One of the tools we use is open houses. If you get to open house and people see the competition that they have, they'll be more prone to act and act stronger. A lot of times when the market's like this, and we have a lot of buyer clients in the market, we don't necessarily have the time to show everyone a house on Saturday and Sunday. So what do? Well, a lot of listing agents send people to open houses. If you go through, historically back when things were working, areas like San Francisco where the market's always really, really strong, I mean, their agents almost never tour houses with their people. Agents go on broker tour and identify what would be a good fit, and then they encourage people to visit at the open house. And in many cases, that's the only time that the house can be shown. Especially in a big city where crime is a concern, possibly, that people are hesitant to just let people through their house randomly. They set a schedule. They'll say, okay, Tuesdays from 4 to 6, Thursdays from 4 to 6, Saturday, Sunday, noon to 5. Those are the showing times. That's when you can come see the house. And the listing agent's there trying to convert everyone and do their best to sell the house. That's part of their value proposition. That's how they do it. We do it a little bit differently. We do definitely encourage people to come through. And as a listing agent and a buyer's agent, I like for people to feel as comfortable as possible in the house. And usually people feel most comfortable when they're with someone they trust, agent they trust, and that's it. So they can speak freely and think clearly about their buying decision. They don't need me in their ear trying to sell them. That's just my opinion, though.
Mark, have you heard anything? Oh, Mark, I wanted to ask a question.
Yes.
It has to do with herd immunity. I guess there's still a huge debate on the number of people who, want to get vaccinated versus those who don't want to get vaccinated. And until we can have, majority of the population, it may be very difficult to predict when open houses are coming back. I haven't heard anything from CAR to indicate that, they will return at this point. Have you heard anything anywhere?
No, I have not. I have not.
And
But I know that we need to drop at least 1 or 2 more tiers before that's even a consideration. But
San
I
Mateo.
think in our,
Oh, I'm sorry. San Mateo is going to orange today.
Yep. Have you heard from them? Anyone up there that if they're allowed to do open houses again?
No, not yet. It's only going to be 50% indoor dining. So that's all that is changing up there. But it's better than 25% indoor.
It's true. And I get that question, by the way, very often from our agents. It's when are we going to be able to do open houses? Or they're trying to think of creative variations of how we can do an open house. And the only way to do anything, I mean, you can't just have people showing up without appointments, because what ends up happening is that they end up cluttering the neighborhood, if you will. So if you have 7 or 8 parties sitting on the driveway waiting for their turn, all the neighbors are going to call and complain, and other agents that see that happening are going to call and complain. So be careful and just don't do it. If you want to specify in the MLS that, hey, I'm the listing agent, I plan on being at the house from 1 to 4. I have 4 appointment slots or 5 appointment slots, and have people pre-register. That's about as close as you could do, but you still can't put signs out. Sometimes I see signs from other companies and I shake my head, because I know that I have 150 agents at our company that would love to place signs on all the corners. Like, I would love to place my open house signs on all the corners, but it's just not allowed, because those signs will bring people to the door, and we can't have more than 3 people in a house at a time, and we certainly can't have a conference on their front porch. So it's a risk those agents take, and they can face discipline from the board if people call and complain. All right. Well, all right, guys. I think that'll conclude our presentation for today on open houses. Hopefully you guys have come away with some information or new ahas that you can put together in your business.
Hey, Mark.
Got some cool notes in the chat. Melissa, you had
Hi.
a comment?
I
Hi.
just wanted to add, I have seen that HomeSnap, I believe, I put the link in the chat, has like a safety timer on there. So when you're doing a showing or you're going to be alone with a client, you can set a 30-minute timer. And if you don't stop that timer, it'll send an automatic message to a designated person to check on you. It also gives you the ability to have a one-touch alert go out if something gets uncomfortable.
That's excellent. Great idea.
Really important.
HomeSnap.com for safety. Yeah, very important.
Safety is
Absolutely.
absolutely critical. Make sure you always tell someone where you're going to be. Not that you're going to be at an open house, that you need to give them the physical location, any, access to get in the home. If there's, a lock, something, you've got to have someone in your family or at the office, or a colleague that you have accountability with. And just make sure someone knows where you're at and how to get a hold of you and how to send the authorities. I think there should be a code. It's often said, do you remember the red file that I left on your desk? Can you do me a favor and take care of that? And that's kind of the signal to send the police. So you should have some code language that you can actually, phone in on the phone if you feel threatened at all.
Very good point. Very good point. Thank you, Hilda.
You're welcome. And thank you, Mark. This was awesome as always.
Thank you guys for joining me today. And guys, don't forget that the real rubber meets the road in this business. You got to add people to your database. Open houses are a great way to do that. On a Saturday or Sunday, if you're hosting an open house, adding 10 contacts is easy because they're all coming to the door. So think about that. Think about ways that we can leverage similar strategies in your business every day to help you add contacts to your database. Right? Have 10 conversations, follow those up with a handwritten note, and preview some homes, and it'll give you some great things to talk about with your prospects when you're making your calls. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.